another episode brought to you by DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook and app. Deke, not only is it safe, baby, but it's secure and reliable. And for all the first-time users out there, if they use the promo code MOATS, they'll receive up to $1,000 in deposit bonus money. That's a lot of deposit bonus money. You know that, right?
Yeah, that's definitely a fair amount.
That's a good amount of money. Good amount of money. So, with that being said, download the app, use the promo code, and you can get an opportunity. Because that's all you want, is an opportunity to make that money, baby. That's it. Download the app, use the promo code, get the opportunity, baby. All righty, ladies and gentlemen. The guy, the man, the myth, the legend has finally hopped on the podcast with us. 4-time Super Bowl champion with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Vietnam War vet. He was awarded the Bronze Star and the Purple Heart for his military service. He was he was drafted in the 16th round in the 1968 draft, the 417th selection overall. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, Pittsburgh Steelers legend, Rocky Bleier.
Hey, Arthur. How you
up,
doing?
man?
Nice to be with you. Thank you.
Listen, the fact that I get to hear your voice, man, that just brightened up my day. You already know.
Don't give me that. Don't give me that.
Anytime I get to be around you, already know it's a good time, baby. You know this. but talk to me a little bit, man. The Steelers season has, officially been over. Just give me your initial thoughts on the season, man.
Basically, my thought on the season was that coming into this season, we had the Steelers were a veteran team. Okay, so people had experience. They've been around. Over the last couple of years, they shored up their defense and questions within their secondary. So when you get into a situation where now all of a sudden COVID comes to play and we don't know how much practice we have or gaps in practice that takes place. What I reckon is that a veteran team, can get through that period of time better than a young up and coming team with possibilities, but they haven't played together a whole lot. So that got us off to a good start. People knew one another. It wasn't a matter of having to find out what players do. We had their expectation, and they had played together long enough to understand what their responsibilities were. So that got us off to a good start. Now, as we went through those first 11 games, so let's talk about those, is that there were a couple games in there, more than a couple, that the Steelers should have lost. But through the grace of God, a break here, whatever it is, they won. And then they continue to win. So now, as seasons go, as you well know, is that momentum changes. Teams that started off weak in the beginning, all of a sudden midway start to find their foundation and their feet, and all of a sudden they start to meld together as a team, and they've come of age. And so when you get to the second half of the season, going into the last 5-6 games, those teams all of a sudden are on a movement up. We never got there. The Steelers just stayed on a plateau. Yeah. We never got better. I don't think we ever gelled to the potential that we had. And I don't know whatever the expectations were, but then all of a sudden teams go, okay, fine. We know how we can defend the Steelers or how we can beat the Steelers. And so so one team does a pretty good job and beats us in game 12, right? And I'm going, okay, well, let me take a look at that film. How did they stop them? And so, obviously, you have a mark, and the Steelers' offensive reputation, was a passing game. Right. It was a passing game, and we couldn't establish a run. We couldn't establish a control, and a passing game is fine, but it's all quick passes, so everybody was lauding Ben, a 2-second drop, 2-second drop, 2-second drop. Well, all of a sudden you figure out how you take away that 2-second drop, and then we can't adapt.
Right.
We never got to a point where you could run the ball. And there's a difference, and you played long enough, Arthur, to understand that a running game is a running game, and a quick passing game is a quick set punch, and you're not coming off the ball as much, and so you just can't adapt. And it has to become part of what your offense is all about. That never was. It never got established, and so it hurt us in the long run. And boom, we start going downhill, obviously. But that was my overall thought about what took place this season.
No, and I feel like you were spot on, man. That's definitely some of the same things that we talked about and thought as well. But it's always good to hear from a guy like you, because we value your football, IQ and just you. I mean, you forgot more football than a lot of us have even seen or learned, It just is what it is. But man, you were a part of 4 Super Bowls, right? So you understand how difficult it is. And I feel like here in Pittsburgh, we always talk about Super Bowls, but I don't think people truly understand how difficult that was for you guys to win 4 Super Bowls. So can you talk about that a little bit, man?
I think
why it's so difficult.
Right. Yeah. And I think what you have to understand, is the time frame. Okay. So, we got to go back a couple years. Mm-hmm. So we got to go back to the 70s. And what
just
was
a couple years, not that far away.
It was just a couple years ago. So we got to go back to the mentality of what took place. So there was no free agency back then. There was no salary cap back then. So teams stayed together. You were drafted. You were drafted by a team, and you became the property of that team, and you played most of your career with that team. Yeah. Okay. So if you look at one of the ingredients, if you look at those Super Bowl years, I think there were 26 players that have 4 Super Bowl rings. Mm-hmm. So you look at the core of that team that stayed there for that period of time.
That's huge.
For the 6 years, for those 6 years, but were there before and were there after. So continuity became very important. You didn't have to replace or rebuild or lose people in free agency as a change. So that was one. I think secondly is that ultimately leadership within ownership, or how better say it in this regards, was that there was a linear responsibility of leadership. You didn't have an owner that was trying to be a coach. You didn't have a general manager that was trying to be a coach. You had owners doing owner business. Chuck Noll was the head coach. He did the coaching business. We didn't have a general manager at that time, so there was no real conflict of interest of how this team and what direction it was going to go in. So from a player's point of view, you knew that line of authority, and and as you were concerned, it was only to Chuck, or to
right.
your position coach, and that's the only person that you had to try to please and be. So, given that mindset, and we had some great talent. I mean, there's 10 Hall of Famers that came out of that period of time, and so talent was important, continuity was important. And believing in one another as much as we wanted to pick on one another, but ultimately getting that job done. So that obviously changed, and it becomes difficult, or became more difficult for teams to be able to do that. So now, you got, so let's say it'll be interesting to see with Kansas City. After this season, I don't know what their lineup is who's going to be a free agent, and who's going to go someplace else
And
because
especially once
of
Mahomes
more
money
money.
starts hitting as well. Once Mahomes money starts to hit on the cap from that new extension, the mega deal, then yeah, that's going to factor in a lot more in terms of their personnel decisions. You're absolutely right.
Yeah. And so it'll just be, so that's why, it becomes more difficult today to repeat, and then because, teams can, the Bills, and so, and you came in the league with the Bills and in that game against Kansas City. The Bills, had momentum to be able to get to the playoffs, and the difference was just having been there before. I don't think Kansas City overpowered them necessarily. I thought that the Bills made some mistakes, and especially with Allen. He could have he got sacked a little bit too many times.
Throw the ball away, baby. Yes,
that's right. and not put his team in that position of being. So it was but he's young, so they'll learn, and but I'm really looking forward to the Super Bowl, specifically between these two teams, so
Absolutely.
It'll be interesting.
Absolutely. And speaking of just staying in that conversation with the Super Bowls and things like that, we know that Ben has led this team to 2 Super Bowls throughout his tenure. But now the question is, do you think he can, or not even do you think he can, but do you think he will win another Super Bowl with the Steelers?
No, I don't. And if they were, this would have been the year. If they to at least get to the Super Bowl. I'm not saying necessarily win it, but this would have been, I think, the year to be able to do that, especially with the start that they had and so on and so on.
Yeah.
It's just that, they're falling apart was part of their overall approach to the game, and what they couldn't do. So I don't see him coming back and because now, so in my opinion, so now we got rid of offensive coordinator, offensive line coach, defensive secondary coach.
Yeah.
Okay. So now we've got a new philosophy coming in. I don't know what that is or what it's going to be. And so how do we react to that? We're going to get some people that will retire. And so we'll lose some of the seniority and maybe leadership within that team. And so I don't, just personally, I don't have a whole lot of confidence about what they can do next year. And the Super Bowl's not in, that realm of being able to be. And I don't think, Ben will be around much longer than maybe next year, a year thereafter, unless something really drastically changes. But anyway.
I was doing some research, and after the 1973 season, you decided to quit, but then eventually came back, and then you won the 4 Super Bowls. Can you talk about that decision, why you wanted to quit, and then why you eventually came back?
Well, I think this, it's in our, it's in our careers, it's in our. And so in my case specifically, it wasn't as if I was a star or a number one draft choice or had high expectations and so on. So you come in and you fight to make the team, and you make the team, and then you go to the service, and then you come back and you overcome your injuries and you get a chance to eventually, you get a chance to play. So basically, and just put this in perspective, 68, I played, 69, I was in the service. I came back in 70, and they put me on the injured reserve. 71, I made the taxi squad. 72, I made the regular team, as they say, and playing special teams. And then 73, I played special teams, never carried the ball, never played my position.
And wait, and shout out to all the special teamers out there that you got to get your start somewhere. I got my start on special teams as well. I'm with you, Rocky. I love it.
Yeah, that's right.
Nobody likes to talk about special teams. They always talk about getting rid of them. I said, man, a lot of talented guys get their start on special teams, baby. That's where you start out. Unless you're a first round draft pick, that's the beginning for you.
That's right. It gave you an opportunity. So
yes, indeed, man.
So you go and you do what you need to do. You come back the following year. And, so you come back in 73 and, every year you got to fight to make the team because they always get younger running backs or younger people that are coming in or free agents that are coming in and so on. And as I said, we were the number one pick. And so, you try to make it. And so 73, I make the team, and so, but here's the thing. So all of a sudden it's 5 years from 68 to 73. It's 5 years of your life that has gone by. And it's not as if I carried the ball once in 1973. And so 74, in my mind was, you have to come back to camp, fight again to be able to make the team. It wasn't a given. I was, in these cases, as I always tell people, in these cases, in the exhibition season in 1972, I was the leading ground gainer in the exhibition season, but which was fine. But it gave me a chance to make the team. 73, I was the leading ground gainer during the exhibition season and carried the ball once. And so then all of a sudden you start to question, you got to fight some more. And I got 5 years credited to my retirement. And, all those thoughts about, well, maybe my life's going in another direction. Maybe we're going to go over here. And I was living in Chicago in the off season, working for an insurance company. And I just thought, well, I'm not going. I decided not to go back, and maybe my life's going someplace else. But there's always an influence in our lives, reasons why things take place. And out of the blue, and out of the blue, I'm in Chicago. There's a NFL players meeting that was taking place in Chicago. Andy Russell, who played linebacker for us, and played linebacker, was captain of the team. He was an all-pro linebacker, was coming into this meeting, and he invited me to come and said, well, why don't you join us? Well, I'm not going back. You're feeling like I'm not going back. So I declined. And so eventually he said, why? And I said, well, I quit. I'm not going back. And he was the one person that he said, you can't quit. He said, if you quit, what you have already done is that you have already made a decision for that coaching staff. Do you like them well enough to make decisions for them? No, your responsibility is that you come back and you make them make a decision. You back them in the corner. You give them every reason to either keep you or release you, but you don't cut yourself. And it made eminent sense. And obviously I went back. And I had a fight with every free agent, draft choice, and rookie.
Let's go. Let's go.
Again, that's right. Leading ground gainer again during the exhibition season. Thank you very much.
Let's go, baby.
Anyway, so I get to make the team, but it's like everything. I get to make the team. First game, Franco gets hurt. Frenchie Fuqua is the backup. He becomes the fullback. In the fourth game, he gets hurt. I'm inserted in the game. With running mate Preston Pearson, who finished his career with Dallas Cowboys. But anyway, Preston breaks one right before the half, gives us a score at halftime. So we get to start the second half. And as I always say, the team won. As a team, we won the game. So the following week, everybody's still banged up. Frenchie's out, Franco's out. I get to start, and as a team, we win that game. so it was the concept of winning the game. Eventually, the following week, Franco's healthy again, and I get to start with Franco at halfback rather than fullback as I had been playing. And primary reason I didn't find out until years later was that prior to that meeting and to the game, Chuck Knoll had said to our backfield coach, you have a weakness in your backfield. He said, who's your best blocker? He said, Bleier. He said, well, then start him. And so I get a chance to start not because of my good looks or my speed or my size, because I get to start because of one talent that fit into that system of being able to block and pick up linebacker or whatever it might be. So that gave me a chance, and then the rest becomes history. We go to the Super Bowl that year, and then we play 6 more years together in that whole backfield.
Hey,
and so those were,
the more you could do. I love it.
That's right. It is. Isn't that the case? Every team that you play for, it's the more you can do, whatever you can do. Be flexible in what you have to offer. Yes.
That is funny. It doesn't matter how, long ago or even in the future, the same things are being said, the same conversations. Like I feel like I'm listening to myself. Like, yo, this is the same thing I was thinking. Like, this is crazy.
That's right.
I've heard these same things. The more you could do, just keep doing more. Just show them your worth.
That's right. I know.
That is funny, man.
That's right. Well, it's one of the things. It's one of the things that we all share. And I tell people this. I tell people that. Especially, and I'm just off to the side here, especially when I'm talking to, former military people, as well. I said, it's like the locker room, I don't care. The locker room is the locker room, whether you continue to play or not, whether you're in junior high or high school, or you get to college, or you get to the pros. The locker room's still the locker room.
Yes.
You have that commonality of experiences. Your adolescent kids in junior high pulling pranks, and you don't change. You're an adolescent adult in a pro team pulling pranks on one another. But you can identify, with that. So the pro locker room isn't any different than the junior high locker room. It's still the same. And I think that becomes what we share together, and what we have, and the memories.
Absolutely. Now, Rocky, I want to transition a little bit to talk about the play. And now you recently have taken this to Broadway On Demand. So I just wanted to hear a little bit in terms of how that opportunity came about and just the thought process with it. And man, how's it been going for you?
Well, yeah, so the play took place.
You how you got to say it, right? You can't just say the place. The play.
The play. The play. So it was, so you get crazy ideas in your mind. There was a book that was written about the Steelers and the history of the Steelers that just came out, and I can't recall the name of the book right at this time, but all of a sudden I was reading it and I'm thinking, oh man, I didn't know that story, and I didn't know that story, or I didn't know that connection. Oh, now it makes sense. I understand. Okay, all right. What? And so then I got to thinking, oh, wouldn't it be nice to be able to tell those stories, in some kind of a format? Now, what got me thinking about that was just because of the fact that we were winners. We, as a team, were winning. And so when you win, I don't care what role you are, you're part of that success. And so all of a sudden, you get to be asked to speak at functions. Okay. And because you win. Now, I got a story, and that story is, well, here's a kid that was in the service, had a fight to come back, and got to play on championship teams. So let's ask him, to come and speak at the junior high football banquet, and so you do that. And then all of a sudden, then you start getting better and you start getting better. We start to win. And ultimately in your career, I think I did every junior high school sports banquet in Western Pennsylvania, eastern part of Ohio, panhandle of West Virginia, and upstate New York.
Hey, know your market. I like it. Know your market, baby.
That's right. Just know your market. So you go out there and you tell your story, you tell some other story, you make up stuff, and and it becomes part of your presentation. Arthur, understand that.
Oh, no question. The showmanship. So then got to show. Got to give them a show.
Yeah. So then we start to win, and then I retire, and God, people still ask you, like to come and speak. And so then that you go, oh, okay, fine. Then you put a better speech together and so on. So then it became, then I did corporate gigs and so on and so on. Anyway, I tell you that as a foundation or a platform of where we're headed in this play. So I feel relatively comfortable on the stage, and I got this speech that I give, and so that's pretty good. And I thought, oh, let's change it. Maybe I should incorporate some of these other stories, so on and so on. Anyway, somebody says, well, maybe we should do a play, and you go, really? And you go, oh, okay, maybe. What do you think? Yeah, are you to do the stuff? And so, you just right time, right move. And Thomas Tull was just a new minority owner of the Steelers.
So yeah, shout out to Thomas. Absolutely.
Right. Yes, and so is in the movie business to begin with.
Legendary films. Yeah. That's
yes.
them. Yep. That's it.
Legendary films. That's right. So he was thinking about doing a movie based around the Immaculate Reception. It was the Immaculate Reception was a part of, but there was a story wrapped around it. Anyway, so I met him and he asked if we could talk about that play and so on. And so then we did, and I, kind of hit it off. And so then, I brought up this idea, what do you think about, I'm developing this idea, and he goes, oh, I say, all you need is this. Oh, I think that's a pretty good idea. Oh, okay, fine. Thomas Tull thinks it's a pretty good idea. So, so anyway, that led from one thing to another thing, and I got some other people involved, and now all of a sudden it was getting bigger than I anticipated. So we got this story that's going on, and get some people involved, and we. Get Gene Collier to write it, and so he does, and now I got to go out and raise some money. So now we're having this, and we're having this, and that's getting like holy mackerel, So then somebody said, what are we going to name it? What are we going to name this presentation? Right. And so I go, oh, well, I said, I don't care what you name it, I'd like you, Arthur, so my book was called Fighting Back, and it's not as if I was going to name it Fighting Back, but, and I was thinking, okay, I don't care what you name this play. Right. Because ultimately, people are going to go, hey, are you going to go see the play with Rocky Bleier? What's it called? That's how it ends up. That's how it ends up. you can put any name on it, nobody remembers that. They
True.
just say, hey.
That's
So
Rocky's
I just
play
said,
right there. That's his
that's
play.
right. Yeah, Rocky's
that's his
play.
thing.
Yeah. So I just said, well, let's just name it the play with Rocky Bleier. And it stuck. So anyway, that's how it got to be. And we did it the first time at Heinz Hall. Was a one-shot deal
too, man. Jeez, Heinz Hall is beautiful for that.
Yeah. So it was a one-shot deal, a night of extravaganza, Heinz Hall. It's open to we had 2,000 people that show up, a fundraiser. We had a dinner beforehand, and so on and so on. And then, so that was that was it. Well, then we came back and we did it for the public theater, and for a couple of years. And anyway, so it just evolved, and so we're very fortunate to say, okay, fine. Given this pandemic, and given everything like this, and the theaters are being closed, and the shows that I had booked had been canceled or put on hold. Then all of a sudden I thought, well, what if we could do it virtually? Just that hot idea of being able to do it. And so ultimately it led to filming it. And we're had the good fortune of being able to do it at the Lincoln Playhouse over in Beaver, and
which is a nice theater as well. They got a nice setup out there in Lincoln. Yes, indeed.
Yes, they do. So that's how it got, and then got introduced to Broadway On Demand, which had a streaming platform. And then all of a sudden, boom, here we are. We got it filmed, and we have it now available to our to anybody that wants to see it. And all you have to do is go to BroadwayOnDemand.com. And you can download it from there. And so I appreciate the fact that you brought it up, so we could talk about it.
Yes, indeed. And I feel like people need to see this, man. So yes, and let them know again. You said Broadway On Demand.
Yeah, BroadwayOnDemand.com. And so it's all free. It's an app that you can download, and then if you have a smart TV, then you can stream it from your laptop or whatever to your television. So it was the first start into making it available in that format. Yeah. So we hope people that would turn in and like it. So that would. Anyway, so
man, you know the one thing that I must say, and I feel like I say this to you all the time, I just love how you continue to adapt. Like, man, most people, when I think of like from the 70s, they don't get, with the, oh man, this is on demand. How does that work? Or streaming services. You're over here like, look, man, if you got the smart TV, you could do this right here. If you got the smartphone, it works like this. I'm just like, yo, shout out to Rocky, man. Rocky, you act like you were born in the 90s, man. I love this. Jeez, right. I love it.
That's right. So, hey, I wasn't that smart. All I had to do was talk to my younger kids and my grandkids. Yeah, they showed me what to do. That's right. Hey,
I like it, baby.
It's easy. Just do this. All right, fine. Thanks.
Like Moats talked about with adapting, you've done many things throughout your life. I mean, veteran, Steelers, 4-time Super Bowl champion, now doing speaking and storytelling. How do you define success in your own life? And then maybe, looking out to the younger generation, what advice would you give to people that are looking to find their own success?
Oh man, that's I think success is finding out what your passions are. I guess I'm not saying what you like to do. There's and really kind of being true to yourself. I never thought of myself as as being a speaker, or even, getting into doing the play, as we said, or getting that filmed. But it's something that just kind of falls in place. That here's an opportunity. What do you think about doing this? And so you go through it, and so I think the idea is to have an open mind about what you want and what your potential is, and being able to not be afraid to fail, but also to be able to take that first step in doing something, and then finding the resources. And it doesn't happen overnight. But it's kind of like, okay, I like this, that I think this will work for me, or whatever it might be. And it's, and I think that is, part of what we all go. I mean, even if you take from playing sports, I never thought I'd play professional. I just like playing sports. I like playing in the backyard. I like playing organized sports. And then, you play in the neighborhood, and then you kind of go, oh, okay, fine. Then you play. I remember my first organized team, we played basketball for the rec league. Okay. And I was in the fourth grade. And my future brother-in-law was in the second grade. And my next door neighbor was in my class, and he's the one that put it together. But we had to go out and raise money and bought our own uniforms, and they were really, I think they cost us $11. But anyway, they were really really shiny uniforms. And so we organized, and you started to play, and you played in the rec league. And then, we didn't have as much organized sports back then as they have today. There wasn't Little League or Babe Ruth or any of those leagues around at the time. You just made up your own, and but you play. And I think that one thing leads to another thing, and you kind of like it, and then you find out. So along the way as well, we played in a band. And I'm not saying like a rock band. No, we played like a grade school and a high school orchestra.
Band. Oh,
yeah, marching band. Yeah, and we did. And although we didn't march, and so I played I played trumpet. Paul Schreider, my next door neighbor, he played the baritone, and we played in grade school, and we played in high school all together. And so that was just just a great experience, but it opened you up to a lot of different things, and appreciation of music and understanding to some degree, but it's like understanding sports. And so you evolve. And I think the biggest thing is trying to find what you like, what you're good at, and then and then go along those paths. Knowing that, nothing's easy, but, if you like what you're doing, then it becomes easy, because you like it. That's right.
Can you talk about your relationship or just your dynamic with Franco Harris? Because I'm assuming when he first came into the league, you guys were almost competitors, but then you became a formidable duo later on in your careers and getting those Super Bowl champions and everything. So can you talk about maybe that dynamic and how that changed throughout your guys' careers?
So let's go back to 1972. We got to go from 1972. I'm trying to make the team, okay, as I told you before. I'm trying to make the team.
And everybody's an issue. Everybody's in your way. I remember this part. I love it. Let's get it.
That's right. And Franco is late coming to training camp. And he's late coming to training camp because he played in the All-Star football game, college All-Stars against the champion NFL team that used to be a game. Okay. So he came in, and so here's Franco, number one pick, he big guy, so all I'm trying to do is make the team. And I'm kind of the kind of guy that is, I'm an A to B guy. Okay. You want me to go off tackle? I'm from A to B. I don't go off. I don't start at the center and then move over to the guard and then go. No, I get off tackle. Boom. Okay, fine. That you got me going up. Franco, he's this big guy and he sits there and he's dancing around and and he doesn't hit the hole fast, and he's trying to pick his way through and so on. But one of the things he does, and he always continues to do, is that every time he carries the ball, boom, he runs down the field 30, 40 yards and then comes back. Every time. And so I look at, from a perspective as a competitor and as a teammate of his methodology, what he's thinking, and so I asked him one time, I said, well, how come you're just not hitting the 2-hole, like you're supposed to, boom, like quick? He said, because the 2-hole's not always there when you think it's there. See, sometimes it might be the 3-hole or the 4-hole, so you got to be able to make that adjustment, as you come. And I go, oh, that might work for you, but it ain't gonna work for me. So anyway, but that was Franco. So he he came in late, again, the exhibition season. He didn't play his first couple games, and then all of a sudden, they put him in, and he ends up gaining 1,000 yards rushing his rookie year. And ultimately gets us into the playoffs that year in '72. We're playing the Oakland Raiders, and the immaculate reception takes place. That deflected pass in the last seconds of the game. Franco scores to beat him, and then the greatest thing in the world happened, and he lives off that one play for the next 40 years. So
talk about him, Rocky. Talk about him.
No, he does, but he has Franco was a very quiet guy, and as he was coming in, he was very quiet. He didn't even own a car. We had to give him rides to here's the number one choice, and he would take the bus at times, or we'd pick him up and take him to practice. And he was living over in the Oakland area at the time, and so eventually he got his car because he was Rookie of the Year in the NFL that season, and so part of that reward was he got a car. So that was his first car that he got. Crazy. And so so your relationship just evolves over the period of time. And so one of the things I think that worked within our relationship was that I was not trying to beat Franco. I was not trying to be a Franco. I didn't need to be the main ball carrier or the star or the runner. I had a role to play, and it worked well, within the confines of what we were trying to get accomplished. And I was satisfied with being recognized for the role that you played. And I think that people need to understand that because we all have roles within our lives, and you have to be satisfied with what that role is. And because we're not all, we're not all number one draft choices, and we're not all starters to begin with. So it's what your contribution is to your surroundings and to your life and to your family or whatever that becomes important, at the time. So our relationship, just evolved with respect. And to watch Franco be able to do what he did during the years that we played, was essential to our success. And so I have a great deal of respect for his work ethic. I mean, he worked hard. He worked, so a lot of us had to lift weights, and build your bodies and become strong, and Franco, he had his own workout routine. I'm going like Are you kidding me? Right? No, but it worked. It worked for him and for what he wanted to get accomplished.
No question. I like it. Like you said, man, a crazy tandem right there, man. Just thinking about the legacy of that Steelers backfield just throughout the years, man. You guys are stamped there forever. So, man, this is awesome to even hear that whole dynamic of how y'all pushed each other from that standpoint, man.
Yeah.
But now I got. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Oh, so I was going to transition. I wanted to ask you because we got two more before we get you up out of here. But I really wanted to know this, right? You have a ton of accolades personally, right? We talked about you being named a 4-time Super Bowl champ, but we also talked about from your service as well, you being awarded the Bronze Star along with the Purple Heart. So I just wanted to know, which accolade are you more impressed with or are you most proud of having? Being a 4-time Super Bowl champ, the Bronze Star, the Purple Heart, like what is it in your just lifetime that of these awards is the one that you hold in the highest esteem?
Well, I have to say, and I have to say this, and just put it in meaning. The Purple Heart is a designation that you really don't want to get. Because that means somebody shot you, but or you got hurt. You got hurt.
You had to be heroic.
Yes, you did. That's right. You go, oh, okay, fine. So, well, it's one of those little the medals of distinction. Okay, fine. So you're a Purple Heart. And the Bronze Star is the Bronze Star was nothing of heroic. Sometimes it gets blown out of proportion. Heroics is doing just what needs to be done at the time that it's there, and you don't question it. You just react in our lives, and that's what we do from playing organized sports. And playing football, you react to the situation. You react to your training, and to your instincts, and you do, what is expected of you at that time. To be able to fill the hole, hit this guy, what needs to be done, and so on. And so, in combat, it's still the same thing. You just react, to what's happening around you. You don't expect to, get rewarded for that. You don't even think about that. It just happens. And so winning the Super Bowls is really a combination of kind of all those thoughts, put together. It just doesn't happen, but you do what you're expected to do within the role in which you play. You don't shirk your responsibilities, and you live up to your own code of honor and ethics that you have, and you hopefully move forward. Now you do this with 10 other guys on your side, or you got 22 guys, or you got 44 guys that are on a team, or special teams as well as everybody, so that becomes a really a huge achievement of giving all those individuals the right place at the right time, mesh together with a common purpose, moving forward, doing what's needed to be done, overcoming their obstacles, along the way, and, ending up with good fortune because of that work ethic of winning a Super Bowl, and then winning 2 Super Bowls, and then winning 3 Super Bowls, and then winning 4 Super Bowls. And that just, doesn't happen, as we well know.
No question.
And so kind of in those conflicts, and I have to put those Super Bowl rings up there on top, only because of the effort that takes to get there.
Hey, Rocky, I got to say this, though. You have to be the most humble guy I know. You really, just check me out for a second. I just want everybody to understand what you just did here. I mean, you speak so well on top of this, but you just casually threw out Purple Heart and Bronze Star. Like, yeah, you get shot, injured, whatever. You just, you go through and you do what you're supposed to do. No. That's not normal. Listen, I love when we compare as athletes. Oh yeah, it's kind of like war. We got to be a unit. We got to make sure we can adapt on the fly. Adversity. It sounds cool in theory, but when you really think about the adversity that you were facing, oh my gosh, like that's not just, oh yeah, this guy just got shot. bomb went off right here, but just do what you normally do. Everyone should be doing this. There's a reason why you got these awards, because there are a lot of people, and I'm sure you can attest to this as well, even servicemen that don't share that same mentality, baby. So I just want to tip my cap to you again, man, because wow, like you just made it just so, oh man, I just did what I was supposed to do. Everybody does this. No, they don't. No, they don't, Rocky. You are special. Very, very special.
Well, I appreciate it. I appreciate it very much. That's right.
No,
now I want you to tell my wife that.
I say yes. He deserves a sticker every day. Okay, he has earned that, at least that much. All right, talk nice to this man, please.
That's right.
No, Rocky, man, the last question we got for you, man, and just shout out to you as well, because you've been awesome throughout this whole time, man. And the listeners, I'm telling you, they are going to love this. But I want to hear from you, man. The last question we got for you, your welcome to the NFL moment. That moment where you were like, whoa, all right, it's real. And it could have been something good that happened, bad, whatever it is. But that moment where you really felt like, all right, we're in the big leagues now, baby. We are here.
Well, that's it. Oh, well, okay, fine. I don't know. Let me see. Moments where you go, all right, you're in the big. Here's just it was my rookie year. Okay, it was my rookie year, and and we're running a scrimmage at practice up at St. Vincent's College.
Shout out to St. Vincent College.
Yes, that's right, St. Vincent. So we're there, and the veterans had come in. The veterans had finally come in. The rookies were there for, I don't know, maybe a week, 2 weeks before the veterans would show up. And so finally the veterans show up. And so we go through it's maybe like that first week. So all of a sudden we have a scrimmage that's going on. And so you're standing on the sidelines watching scrimmage. And so all of a sudden the coach says, Bleier, get in there at halfback. And so I go, okay, fine. So I'm all enthusiastic of being, with the veterans. I run in there, into the huddle, and it's like, so I go, all right, guys, come on. Okay, fine. Let's go. Let's get something going here. All right, fine. And so one of the offensive guards says, hey, Bleier, cut the shit. We don't say that stuff around here. You're in the pros now. I'm going, oh, okay. So,
calm all that happiness and optimism down, man. Calm all that down.
Well, that was like my first affirmation as you're in the pros. You're not in junior high anymore or high school. You're not in the rah-rah business anymore. You don't have to do it. Just get your stuff done, will you?
Yes, indeed.
I go, oh, okay, fine. That's right. So that was one. And then and I'll tell you this one too, just as a side, like you finally belonged.
Yeah.
The first day that the veterans come in to camp, the first day. Okay, this was a tradition up at Steelers anyway, is that they, after practice, they would go, and I don't know if it was there, Arthur, when you were there, the 19th hole.
Yes,
19th hole.
Yes, it's still there.
Okay, fine.
It's hanging on.
Hole,
it's hanging on.
Yeah, it was a little bar. It was downstairs at the motel. It was a bar called the 19th hole. That's where all the veterans would go after practice to have a beer, a couple of drinks before dinner started. And so the whole process was they would take the number one pick down there and introduce him to the veterans, and obviously get them drunk, or that was the idea. So Mike Taylor was the number one pick out of University of Southern Cal, and he declined to go.
Uh-oh.
He said, he said, I don't drink. I'm not going. No, thank you very much. So I'm going, holy man. So all of a sudden, there's, they're going, oh, okay, fine. They went to Ernie Rupel. Ernie was the second round draft choice out of Arkansas. He's a big old farm boy. And Ernie, okay, fine, you're coming with us. Well, no, I don't believe. I don't drink either. I thank you, but I don't want to go either. So now they got egg on their face. Paul Martha was the leader. Paul was University of Pittsburgh defensive player. The Steelers' number one draft choice, actually, back when. And so he looks around and he said, okay, Bleier, you're coming with us. So I was like a little lapdog. Okay, fine. Well, thank you very much. Well, happy to be incorporated. And so they took me down.
Including me, yes.
Come on. Oh, well, yeah, just to be part of you guys. Yes, thank you very much. And so they take me down to 19th hole. Oh my goodness gracious! So everybody's buying you a beer. Obviously, their whole idea was to get you drunk before you go back. And so I think I had it was like I had. I think I had 12 beers in an hour. It was, oh my god! Oh, geez. So anyway, but I'm sitting at the table. Even like this. So I'm sitting at the table, and their middle linebacker, Bill Saul, his name was Bill. Bill's passed away now, but Bill was from Butler, Pennsylvania, and played at Penn State. And he was their middle linebacker, big raw bone, steel mill hunky kind of a guy. Mm-hmm. So he sits down and he goes, "Hey, Bleier, I know you're a college kid, we gotta. I think we should have a drinking contest here, And I'm going, oh, okay, fine, So he said, yeah, So we sit down, we pour beer in a glass, each of us. Okay, he said, on my count. Let's see who can chug the beer the fastest. And I go, oh, okay, fine. So he goes, all right, it'll be on 3. 1, 2. Okay, just a minute. To make it fair, he said, I'm not going to use my hands. Okay, 1, 2, 3. He opens his mouth, places over the glass, picks up the whole glass, and drains it straight down his throat.
Wow.
And puts it down before I could even get a half a beer spilled all over me.
Wow.
And I'm thinking, whoa, that was another moment in time where you go,
oh, that's a grown man. That's different.
This is the NFL, and now I got to learn how to drink. Jeez. So those are some of the early reasons of now I've come of age. Yes.
Yes, I like that a lot right there, Rocky, man. You were awesome. I mean, everyone that knows you knows you're always awesome. But man, we just want to tell you again, thank you so much, man. You were a blast. These stories, the memories, everything, man. So just continue to be great at life, baby.
Right. Well, Arthur, Deke, when this pandemic gets over with, we'll have to get together face to face.
Yes, indeed.
That'd be awesome.
Yes, indeed.
That's right. And I won't use any hands. Okay?
But I say we're gonna work on this new technique because that's crazy to me.
That's crazy. That's
crazy.
Right. Yeah, crazy stuff.
Yes,
anyway.
Indeed. But yeah, man, thank you again. And like I said, man, we appreciate you 1,000%. And just like I said, continue to be great at everything you do, man.
You as well. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thanks
you.
for your time, Deke. Pleasure.
Absolutely. Thank you.